Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a bit because Dortmund likes to bring back players, right? Remember the whole free Shinji Kagawa thing? He's also came back from Man United.
Yeah, Nuri
Then there
Sahin.
was Nuri Sahin who came back. Yeah, he also came back. I mean, I think we can all agree that Jadon Sancho is a wonderful player who decided to go to the wrong club. This happens. It was Jadon Sancho's desire to go to Man United. This is on him. Borussia Dortmund received a lot of money for Jadon Sancho. I think it was 85 million euros in the end, right? And surprise, surprise, it didn't work out. I mean, no one saw this coming. That, going from Borussia Dortmund, where he was the biggest star, had played in a system that was completely tailored for him, going to a club that has been a dumpster fire ever since Ferguson left, which has now been, 9 years? Surprise, surprise, it didn't work out. Just like it didn't for Shinji Kagawa. We were hugely shocked by this development. Maybe young players should be smarter about their career choices. So, yeah, here we are. I see this all the time. And you see it with so many players in the Bundesliga who have made this decision to instantly leave their clubs after 1 or 2 good years, right? When they're still in their early 20s, sometimes even in their teens still, to go to another club, another environment. And I'm saying here not better environment or better club in another environment, when really they are not at the right age or maturity to do that. And I think this is a great example of it. I think Jadon Sancho would have benefited from being at Borussia Dortmund probably to his mid-20s, when he's fully mature, a great player, fully established, has played 100, 200 games in the Bundesliga, racked up a certain amount of points and assists, goals and assists, and then made the move to another club, having a full body of work. And you see this all the time. We had this discussion about Kai Havertz last week, right? Same thing. Timo Werner, same thing. You see it all the time. And I almost wonder if you need some sort of protective mechanism in European football where this is just not possible. Like in the NHL, the league that I watch, hockey, right? I think the NBA and the NFL do something similar. The players actually have a protection, have the right. There's a certain amount of years that a player has to stay with the first club that they sign a professional contract with. And the clubs that are then protected. We don't have that mechanism in soccer at all, but you almost wonder if that's a necessary thing to kind of actually guard players and the agents of those players from themselves. And should Jadon Sancho come back to Borussia Dortmund? I don't know. Like, I'm curious what you think here, but times have changed, and how much is this going to cost? And is this going to be we are completely speculating here, but could Borussia Dortmund even finance a transfer like that? That's the other question, right? Like, I mean, at best, you would loan the guy for a year, and then you would send him back with the exact same issues. The exact same issues would still exist, that this is not a good environment for him. And I'm of two minds here. I think I would love to see Jadon Sancho back in the Bundesliga. I wish he hadn't left when he did. But I also think that Borussia Dortmund would be quite smart to in going on the basis of previous rescue missions, and that's what Kagawa and Sahin was. It didn't always work out perfectly.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting one. I mean, I've kind of looked extensively at why Jadon Sancho hasn't worked out at Man United, and the long story short I found was that when he was in form for Dortmund, he was basically a playmaker. He was the guy who started the moves for them, whether it be a quick 1-2 on the wing or you beat a man and kind of swing a ball in, or even just kind of playing off the last man actually, and playing off Marco Reus or something. He was always the player who demanded the ball. He demanded to hog the ball, and that really meant that he was always really influential in how the play started, how Dortmund attacked opposing teams. And that's just not happened at Manchester United. He's basically gone from being a big fish in a small pond to being a big fish in an even bigger pond. And what that means is at Man United, he's just not getting as much of the ball. His actual finishing and his goal scoring at Man United is actually quite comparable to what he did at Dortmund. It's just that he's kind of really off the ball, quite isolated. And I think a lot of it can be put down to the fact that Man United have a player like Bruno Fernandes at number 10 who really demands the ball a lot and isn't so much, even though he's a great number 10 and he's probably one of Man United's better players, he's not really like the kind of player who sets up other players. He's more likely to kind of go for the goal himself. So that's really why I don't think he has worked out at Man United. I don't think it's because he's too slow or because of the Bundesliga attacks or anything like that. It's just the fact that he hasn't been used at Man United the way he was used at Dortmund, which, as you said, is often what happens when these players move from Germany to England. These clubs and these managers just don't do their due diligence. Interestingly enough, I actually think him moving back to Dortmund would actually be quite a smart move, because you have at Dortmund at the moment a situation where the club don't really have any outstanding wide players. They've obviously got Daniel Malin, they've obviously got Adeyemi, Gio Reyna's there as well. But for one reason or another, these players just aren't actually that reliable at the minute. Daniel Malin's very hot and cold. Adeyemi just hasn't got going at all. And obviously Gio Reyna's had some injury concerns. You can maybe add Marco Reus to that, but he's more of a number 10, I would say. So I'll be honest with you. I think if Jadon Sancho's people were to reach out to Dortmund and say, look, I'm interested in moving back here for, we sort some sort of loan deal out where I'm here for 2 years on loan, and over the course of that period, you and Man United hammer out some sort of deal where Man United pay 30% of my wages or something, and Dortmund sign him back for 40 million euros or something. That gives Dortmund the opportunity to move on someone like Daniel Malin. Maybe it's a bit harsh to kind of call it quits on Adeyemi just yet, but I don't know. I think there's actually plenty of space in this Dortmund team, and I'd actually go so far as to say they're actually crying out for a good winger in that team. So I think he'd be a great re-signing for Dortmund, and I think he'd also obviously do his career the world of good as well, not just in terms of getting goals and assists, getting game time, but obviously he thinks long and hard about representing England, and as things stand, he's not going to do that at Manchester United, and it remains unlikely or unclear whether another Premier League side would be willing to take a chance on him just yet, because he'd obviously demand so much money in terms of wages and a transfer fee. So maybe a move back to Dortmund does make a lot of sense.
I think it's interesting that his Instagram, there is obviously something there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't think that transfer is imminent, but I do think it's interesting that this is what he's decided to do. Mm-hmm. And that's crying out for help, I think, right? It's obviously not at the World Cup. I don't know what Man United are doing in this break, and it seems a little bit like here's a player who is obviously looking for a way out. That's how I interpret this reaction. Whether he's going to get it with Borussia Dortmund, I think that is still in the realm of complete speculation. But I do think this is a player asking for help.
Yeah. I guess we just have to wait and see whether Dortmund are the team that can help him.